board-certified plastic surgeon, Dr. Vince Marin, and he's here to explain what it is and how to know if it is the best option for you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so we have a lot of different things to talk about on this table. Let's talk about the newest style of breast implant. What's making it different from other new versions called the right?
Right. So the gummy bear implant is this one. The difference is that it really kind of holds its own structure. It's a thicker, what we call more cohesive implant. The shell is a little bit different, and if you notice, it's shaped. So it's an implant that's come out on the market that's actually that kind of teardrop shape. And so what it really does is you can see that it holds its height and has a lot more structure to it than the other previous implants.
Can I see what it feels like?
Absolutely.
And then compared to the other ones, this feels pretty heavy.
It's somewhat heavy. It's really not that much heavier, but if you look at something like this, old implants, and these are older generations, you look at how that just doesn't hold its structure. It almost can kind of fall through your fingers. And you look at that versus this in terms of the height, this implant just falls apart. This one really able to reshape a breast with, rather than this, the breast would shape the implant. So it's been a huge change in the structure and strength of the implant that we're able to put in a woman.
Okay, yeah, I mean this one, look,
you can
it's
see
already
it just falls right.
This is the silicone implant.
These are the older ones, and then this is the one that we currently use in the market. So you can see the change and transition.
Look at
and
that.
then we've got this, it's much like honey that we think, the other ones that people are concerned about, that you know, you cut these open. These old implants were just like honey. We've kind of made our way through to something that's a little bit more marshmallow texture, so it's got a little bit more substance to it. And then these latest, you can see that they really, the gummy bear is really a good example of what's inside of this, because this implant actually does hold its structure even if you cut it in half.
And why has it taken the FDA so long to approve this newest gummy bear?
This was under study for 11 years and over 1,000 patients, and the biggest issue is that this implant, as it goes through, you can see the lack of structure in the old implant. But the reason is that this is the most studied device for human implantation, I think, ever. And the reason is there's been so much if it's ever been proven out, and there's never been an issue in terms of risk for women. The FDA has been super concerned about making sure that whatever they put back on the market is safe. And so after years of study, they found that there's no incidence of any problems that they're really concerned about, and so they felt comfortable enough putting it back on the market. Just for a reference, it never went off the market in Europe. Just the United States is a little bit more cautious in approving medical devices.
And that's the most important thing, I think, is let's talk about safety. What is inside? What happens if one of them opens up? Right.
So this implant, the one that we're kind of having some trouble with, if you actually can feel your fingers, you can feel a little silicone on your fingers. That's what's called gel bleed. It actually goes through the shell of the implant. When you look at these newer implants, they've looked at studies and there's absolutely zero gel bleed that they've been able to detect. So no little tiny silicone particles are going outside the implant and then ending up outside the breast or in a lymph node, which is some of the concerns before. Just to put everybody at ease, just because it's there, it hasn't been associated with a problem, but we'd rather keep all of that silicone within the device itself, and these are shown to be the safest with respect to that.
Now, is it true or false? Silicone, say this one right here that you use on the market, FDA approved. If this bursts inside your body, is the silicone deadly? The
silicone is not deadly. Silicone is one of the most inert or inactive substances that's out there. From our perspective, if it is ruptured and it's detected that it's ruptured, we would recommend to take it out, just because we don't have that much more information, and we wouldn't want to leave free silicone in the body. But there are applications in terms of ophthalmic surgery where they actually use liquid silicone. So it's not that it's going to cause a problem that we've ever known or seen associated with a study. That being said, if we were to find a patient with a silicone implant, we would recommend taking them out and putting back in a new intact implant.
You wouldn't want that. So what is this? Let's open this up. And what makes it so different? What is that substance?
So this is still the silicone inside, and you can kind of see that it's still intact, but I've kind of got some scissors, and see, maybe I can get you to hold that other side for me right here. And then what we're going to do is we can actually cut this through, but the difference you can see is that this doesn't come out. It's actually a really thick, what we call cohesive gel, and if you put it down, it holds its shape, just like if we cut one of these little gummy bears in half, they'd maintain their shape. And now it's been the structural change within how that gel is made and put together, and so it allows us as surgeons to actually reshape the breast with an implant. We're going to see that there are some issues with it, because this implant does have a kind of a top and a bottom and a front and back side. When we look at this, if this is something that were to twist or turn, that's a bigger concern. So we want to make sure that when it's put in the exact pocket that we want to make sure that it doesn't twist, because it can be full or flat in an area that you don't want. So that's one of the limitations with this implant. It's a powerful reshaper. It isn't necessarily something that is the easiest to use. So you need to make sure that you choose your surgeon wisely when you're looking into these implants.
Yeah, and you know, I'm wondering for women who already have implants or for women who are looking forward to it or to get them, is this the one they go for? If these are obviously still on the market, why wouldn't these just be the one? Are there other things that we should know about that one?
So what we found is that these, at least in the beginning, these are kind of recommended for a first patient and someone that's looking for a more gentle slope on the upper aspect of the breast. So you want to make sure that because this is thinner up top, and if you look at it from the side, there's a thinner aspect on the top, that allows that this is going to add a more gentle slope. So someone that's really looking for a natural look, you'd be looking at this. In a revision surgery, it's not quite as easy because of that kind of hand in glove fit we want to make sure when we put this in there. These implants are great, and I still think in the end we're probably going to see about 80–90% of our patients are still in the old round silicone implant because they're so forgiving, easy, they're soft, they feel great, and it isn't something that's necessarily detectable in patients. So these are an option. It adds more variability for patients in choosing that, and I think in reconstruction we're going to end up having a lot more use of this implant. But I always want patients know that just because it doesn't mean it's always better necessarily. I think it just adds more options to the market that's really going to help us as surgeons and help patients.
Yeah. When you talk about standing up over the test of time, which one of these, or this one's already gone, all right?
You can see it's already descended. Yeah, exactly. We know that one's out. But that's our perspective there as it is. This one, as you can see, this one actually not only, we see a lot of implants will descend over time. The studies have shown that this one actually holds place even better over a period of time. It has a textured surface than this smooth surface, and that actually helps hold that in place. So we're seeing those implants kind of more resistant to gravity, which is also another positive for patients.
All right. Sharing all this information
My
with
pleasure.
us. If you want to get in touch